Good morning. Let's just get this camera. There we go. I think that's good. There we go. Not perfect, but more or less. Right, let's see where we are now this morning. There we go. Let's just get that up there now. We've got one live viewer. Good morning. That's all we needed. Just waiting for one live viewer to come on. I don't know, we've got joining 3 live viewers. Just remember, they're not the rules, but what we like you to do is to actually say who you are, where you're from. 5, 8 live viewers. Look at this. Absolutely fantastic. We've got 1 like already. So many thanks for that. Really, really appreciate it. Here we are. It's Saturday morning live with Johnyboy, and we've got to mention the supporters of this live feed, ITS, the tool guys. Go online, check them out, its.co.uk. Got Justin there from Brickwork. Good morning, Justin. Happy new digger, mate. Yeah, it is. Absolutely, Just. Look, what I promised today to myself, Just, I'm going to slow down a little bit. But we've got 10 viewers. We've got 3 likes. Let's see if we can get it up to 10. Caleb Anderson, Caleb from South Staffordshire, Anderson Landscapes Limited. That's it. That's great. How many of you guys actually got you've got your picture? Like Justin there has his logo to clearly see it's a business. Caleb, have you ever thought about maybe your logo? Have you got your logo? We've talked about logos before. 4 likes, 8 viewers. That's what we want. Remember, supporters of this live stream, ITS. Got to plug them. Got to keep plugging them. Is it an ad? Yes, it is. And the reason that I talk about this on a regular basis is that adverts are good. There's nothing wrong with adverts. There's nothing good with having supporters and sponsors, whatever you want to call it, of the live streams, because they actually want to give back, and they want to give back to you. I'm going to get the live stream up now as we speak, because there's lots to talk about at the moment. It's not that one. Let's have a look now. I just want to try and is that it now? No. Let's just refresh that. I want to try and get it because I can actually see the comments a lot better on here. Not thought of it yet, but we'll look into it. Well, I think it's a good idea to actually instantly when people see, it's just an opinion, when people actually see your name and they can see your business, and Justin's got his logo. Good logo Justin got as well. Freckles Funny Bunny. Good morning, Vicky from Stoke-on-Trent. Good morning, Vicky. How are you? Are you good? Vicky, are you a consumer or are you a contractor? Because this podcast is for consumers and contractors alike, where we all come on here and we all talk about lots of things and regular things. Do you know what? Honest, I'm trying to get the live stream up on here, but for some reason I can't get it. So maybe that's it. There we are. I think, yeah, that's the one. That's the one. Here we go. Let me just get this on here now. Do you know, technology. Technology is so frustrating. I think it's the time delay on there at the moment. Anyway, I'm going to go with this at the moment. Good to see Freckles Funny Bunny, consumer, but love my garden. Hey, what a wonderful time to love the garden. At last, we're having some sunshine, but I don't know about you, but has it or has it not been cold this morning? Nigel East, good morning, Nigel. How are you, bud? Good to see you. Brad Long, morning, everyone. That's how it's done. Hey, a consumer, Freckles Funny Bunny was saying there, some funny names on here, about the weather. Yeah, absolutely. It's, you know, and what a time to get in the garden and to enjoy the garden. You know, it's something that we should do. But I'll tell you now, it's funny you say that. As soon as I arrived back the other night, I parked the van, I opened the door and I went round to the side door, and I have a fantastic border on the one side, and it is a real good border. It's full of silver birch, box balls. We've got loads and loads of salvias, different colours I might say as well, different colours of salvias, but they fill the border up, they compact the border and fill it up, and it's actually good to see that. But I had those bluebells. Those bluebells have just gone rampant, and they've obviously gone over now, but I've pulled some out, I've dug the soil over, and it was tough. That border I've got between a wall and an edging curb, it's about 800 mil. So and I've dug it all out before. There was all sorts of things down there, and it is a lot better than what it was before. So I'm sort of trying to get there, but I want to put some of those, and you know, this is why I like this, is because we can share our knowledge to other people that are viewing this show at the moment. And you know, I want to put some of those hydrangeas, the pom-poms, the Annabelle. They look absolutely fantastic. White and blue and green actually goes perfect together. I don't know what you do in your garden, Freckles, Funny Bunny, but it'd be good to see your garden. Listen, remember, if you want to send me any pictures or if you have any concerns about anything, just drop me an email, info@greentoplandscapes.co.uk. Get it on there. Let's have a look. Let's have a response. Even if you want to just share a real good positive story, we want to hear about it. We hear about so much negativity on a regular basis, and what I try and do, the negativity is always going to be there. It's always going to happen, and negativity and positivity just goes together. It's what we do on a day-to-day basis for whatever reason. One thing about the border, those silver birch trees, the little leaves just drop down and they go over the top, Justin, of my van, and they fill and block up the drainage holes. And I've had it before where the water just fills up, flows over the top, goes into the head, and it's actually soaked the filter before. So it's an absolute nightmare. I'm really frustrated when that actually happens, because the van went into limp mode, and it's going to cost a lot of money if I allow it to go on. So I need to do something about it. Always learn something from your videos. Thanks. Well, I tell you now, Freckles, Funny Bunny, well, it'd be good just to get your name like you, because it's a hell of a mouthful. David Graham just joined us. Good to see you. We need to start doing a little bit more planting. It's always an anticlimax for me when you go into a garden, you build a garden, you start from the hard landscaping side of things years ago from my angle, and it was fantastic going in there with those machines, the big trowel, the big level, and producing all that cement and concrete and paving, and it's all looking good, the woodwork and everything, the fencing, and you're creating the boundaries and the borders and the wearing course. But what we really need is we need something to bring it alive. Caleb Holly Anderson, good to see you. I've got a few porcelain jobs coming up and looking to purchase a ruby table saw. Just wondering what blade is best for the one you choose to cut the porcelain. I'll tell you now, I'll be totally honest with you, the SPT blade from Ruby is good, but Henry from Elite Stone Tools, his blades are really good as well. Lewis Wheeler, hi mate, I don't like my grout anymore. Any tips on getting out? Well, actually, Ruby do a fantastic little grout remover, and I tell you now, we have a man. There we are, you're back. We have somebody join us this morning. Will actually tell us how to remove grout and how to remove it safely. Ruby have a small grout remover. I was talking about it the other day. Went to Ruby in Barcelona, and they've got this fantastic little tool to remove grout, and it really does work. Who was that before? That was Caleb. If you're looking for a Ruby saw, Caleb, give me a shout, because I can direct you in the right person can actually get you that. Brick Right, Justin says, engine light on van, swollen at home, John, nightmare, no time to fix it. Yeah, it's a nightmare when the van goes in. It's right if you've got a job going on and you've got all your tools down there, and you can maybe get a lift down there and get your van doing, but it does mess you around. Hey lads, the big FB guy. Good to see you. Lee, isn't it? That's it. Good to see you, bud. Lads, I made it at last. Good to see you. Hey, look. I'll tell you something now. There's so much to talk about. I love all this conversation. We've got, somewhere in here, we have got some stickers, some landscape survival stickers, and we've got a landscaping survival top. What I want to do is I want to give something away today. If somebody's interested in a Greentop landscape shirt, if you can have one, somebody said to me the other day that I'm not giving enough away. So there we are. We have a Greentop landscape shirt that we're going to give away. We also have in here a landscaping survival top. Yes, please, JB. I need to know your size, bud. I just need to know your size. You're going to have to drop me an email, info@greentoplandscapes.co.uk. You've been a real good fan on it. Extra large. Right, okay. What? 2XL. There we are, landscape and survival top. I'm going to get that one out to you. We'll get you a Greentop landscape shirt. And I have got in here, she's going to go absolutely bonkers. We've got a hat. I don't know if we've got the right size for you there, but we have in here, one second, bear with me. This is what it's all about. And I'm sure this is a 2XL. I'm going to give one of these away. I can't give any more away, but the big FL has been with us all the time. He's always there. There's an XL, there's a landscaping survival hoodie That's going to be coming out to you. Drop me an email, info@greentoplandscapes.co.uk. Landscape Survivor, it's a group and a forum that I actually run on the internet, on Facebook, and you can join it if you're a landscaper. You can't join it if you're a consumer because they don't want you on there, the landscapers. What were we talking about, Just? We talked about vans and the problems that we have with the vans. Look, I've done it again, Just. I'm going 100 miles an hour. Abdul Alanzi, how's it going, bud? John, I made my garden just by watching your video. Abdul from Cardiff. Abdul, good to see you, bud. I hope you send me a picture, mate. I'd love to see it. Nigel's on there. XL, Nigel is as well. That's it. 2. We're not doing no more. We're going to give 2 hoodies away today, or 2 t-shirts. Nigel and the Big FL, if you can send me one, that'd be absolutely great. Are giving that new digger away, John. No, I'm not giving the new digger away. Hey, just gotta tell you this. Gotta be quiet. I've chipped a little bit of paint off already, but hey, it's a tool. It needs to be used, and we need to get on with it. And that's what happens when we're building gardens. Hey, look, we forgot to mention Chelsea is on this week, isn't it? Chelsea, Ian Power, Landscapes and Groundwork. Morning, all. Hope everyone is well. There's Ian there up north. Good to see Ian joined us this morning, and I always welcome Ian on here because he's a good friend of mine. He's been around and supported me for a long time, and it's good to have him on here. We have got a caller calling in this morning. All these messages. Where do you believe the best place for membrane for under artificial grass is? Where do you believe the best place for membrane for under? Well, what you need to do, you probably need to, in my opinion, contact Tudor Grass. They've got membrane up there. Speak to Nicola. Chris is always busy. Fantastic company. They've got good delivery service. And if you're doing a lot of artificial grass, they can get on the big roll to you. So, and it's very economical in doing so. Look, we've got 7 likes this morning. We want to get 14. We've got 14 viewers watching. So let's see if we can get 14 likes. People bounce in and out of this videos. I know it's always difficult on a Saturday morning because you've got your own things to do. I miss a Saturday all the time now, and I don't miss working on a Saturday. I don't know about you, Just. Do you go in, or do you go in on a Saturday? We do occasionally, but I haven't done it for a long time because I do these live feeds. But I'm actually considering going in tomorrow, but I haven't told her at the moment. But I'm actually considering going on because I want to make a little bit of progress. It's been okay this week. It hasn't been too bad, but I just feel sometimes I need to get to a certain point, and planning these points sometimes is not always a good thing because you only can do what you can do. Very, very rarely, John. Yeah, hey, just we're getting older, aren't we? We're getting older. Nigel Lee says, porcelain grout, old school or new brushing. What's your thoughts? Well, Nigel, I'll be honest with you. I think if you're using a cementitious grout, there are so many good products out there, and it's so easy to, Lee Martin's just on here. It's so easy to condemn other companies for their products, and they spent a lot of money and investment and they believe in their products. I hope they do believe in their products. But for me, without a doubt, I think if you're using, I think the easy grout from Aspect is really good. And I think for porcelain, I don't think a brushing grout is any good because it's porous and we don't want the water to get underneath. If you look at road building, and it's so relevant, you've got to try and understand this. When they build roads, what they want to get the water off the surface as quickly as possible. So that's why they have crossfalls and cambers, just like you have in paving. They don't want the water to sit there because it can be detrimental long term. So what they got to try and do is get the water off. And I think that if you're using brushing grouts, it's not good at all. Planning is key, the organisation as we get older and letting the young lads have a go. Yeah, I agree with you 100% there, Justin. Justin, we're talking about grouts at the moment. I don't know what your opinions is. And Nigel's asked the question, porcelain grout, old school or new brushing? What's your thoughts? I wouldn't use sand and cement with porcelain because I don't think it does it justice. It's not fair to have a beautiful, contemporary, sleek, beautiful product of the porcelain. Porcelain, I've been told I'm saying porcelain. Porcelain, tomato, hey, there you go. 17 live viewers, we've got 8 likes. Let's see if we can get the likes up to 10 at least. Porcelain, okay, porcelain. Would I use old school sand cement? No, I wouldn't. I would use one of these sleek cementitious grouts that have a flexibility to it. If you look at the companies like Bal and Mapai and Ardex and even Aspects, they spend a lot of money in research and development and Flowpoint and all these other products. There's so many out there, and I haven't used them all. It's as simple as that. The Big FB says, I've decided to use Mapai coloured ground. What are your thoughts? Here we go. We got a call coming in. Hello.
Hello, John. How's it going?
Here he is. You've got 21 live viewers. Can you tell our viewers who you are, where you're from, and how's it going, Sam?
Yeah, no, it's good, thanks. It's Sam Hoffman, so wall and floor tiler internally. Starting to do some bits externally, but based in Kent, down in the southeast.
Based in Kent. Sam, before we go any further, I just want to tell these people 20 live viewers, 23 live viewers now. We've had 11 likes, so it's not a bad live feed this morning. I know you're busy. I know you're in work this morning, but I want to tell these people you run a tiling forum, and you've been doing tiling, well, from quite a young age. Tell us a little bit how it started out for you, Sam.
So unfortunately, I got removed from school, which turned out to be the best thing for me. Started from the very bottom, as everyone does, sweeping up, picking bits up, stuff like that, when I was about 14. And then just progressed from there, really.
At 14?
Who I was working with. Yeah, 14, so it's changed a lot since then. It's changed a lot.
And what was it, the thing, Sam, like about school? What wasn't clicking with you about school at the time?
Do you know, I think it's the same as with my son now. He's just not interested in paper and sitting still. My problem, the same as probably you, I have to keep busy. And sitting down with paper, that it's just not something I can do. I want to be hands-on and doing something, moving around.
Yeah, but you're a good manager of people as well, you know, by what I can make of it. You employ a number of people?
Yeah, that's right. So we employ them. I don't do the paperwork. I've got a wife that does all of that, so she runs the business basically in that sense, and keeps everything going. But I think talking to people on a level is where you get more. So I wouldn't have learned half as much as I know now, probably the same as you, if it wasn't for people educating you in person. If they'd give me a book, I probably would have got bored halfway through.
Yeah, absolutely. So the hands-on person can also make a good manager. And obviously you are a good manager because you're delegating. Your wife is helping out your business. And that's one question I posed this week. I asked the guys, you know, how many of you actually have wives that actually help you to run your business? And you've clearly identified that. Does it help out a lot, Sam, having the wife to help you?
Oh, definitely, because they overlook everything and oversee everything. They can arrange everything, sort everything. And unfortunately, in our trade now, there's a lot of paperwork that goes with it. It's not just turning up for a job. And if you want to get bigger, I do believe you need someone that can give a professional quote and a service. They can speak to someone through an email and stuff like that as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And it does help a lot. Sam, you and I have sort of known each other on the internet for a little while now, but also what we've done this week, we made a trip out to Ruby in Barcelona, and we had some fun, of course, but also what we'd done was we sat and we were sort of entertained by product managers, if I can put it entertained. And then we went through the process. And the one thing I noticed was that you know your stuff, Sam. You know your stuff inside out. And now what's happening, Sam? Let me just cover this. You do a little bit, but generally your work's tiling. But there's a lot of landscapers laying porcelain. Are there things that they can learn from a tiler?
I believe so. The material, obviously, we've been using it for many years inside. And what we get is, I never used to ever get phone calls for outside external work, very rarely. And now people are asking me, can you quote to tile this wall? Can you do these steps? If it was tiled, most tilers would be able to undertake it. Obviously, the problem what you've got is tilers don't know sand cement. They don't know the properties. They don't want to get involved. So I believe most of the internal tiling you see is going to move outside to the landscapers.
Yeah, absolutely. We got Lee Cromwell just come up with he's just come up with a question. He said, "Can you advise me on using an angle grinder with a continuous diamond blade to cut porcelain?" What's your views on that?
Yeah, so you can use it. Obviously, the blade that you want is a continuous rim. If you want a nice, smooth, polished edge, the only problem with the 20 mil is if you have a continuous rim, what happens is it overheats. You see on the blades, you've got the flutes on some of them, so they're not a continuous, smooth, polished edge like an ECD blade. they've got the flutes, and it helps the dust escape. So it keeps the blade cooler, keeps the tile cooler, so you don't get them shearing off or snapping off.
So an ECD blade is good for 20 mil?
Yeah, I think you'll wear it out pretty quickly.
Yeah.
But it would be good for polishing. You get a lot of dry cut blades. The main thing is keeping them cool. So they're designed in ways to let the dust escape as you're grinding. So it keeps the dust out, so it doesn't keep it in there and keep it heating up too much.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's really your best option.
Yeah. So when we're using blades, there's lots. So this is the thing, you see, Sam, is what's actually happened now is you've got this industry of landscapers and the DIYer that decide that they want to lay porcelain. But what they're doing, Lee said, thanks for that, by the way, Sam. We're laying porcelain, but we got to learn how to cut it, haven't we? You can use some blades. You can cut dry and you can cut wet, but there's some wet blades you can't cut dry, can you?
No, that's right. And some people will say with a dry blade, oh yeah, put a sponge on it, but all you do is you weaken it, and it's not as effective.
No,
so they're not used for wet use. There's a lot of research and development. Like, you know, when we went out there and they're speaking about certain things and the development they put into there, they do know what they're doing. Same as using a grinder. Some people say cut forwards, some people say cut backwards. But if you're cutting backwards, you're pulling against the spin of the grinder. So you're actually putting it under excess force that it's not designed for.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Sam, I'm a little bit guilty of that. When I pull in on the bridge saw, I'm pulling the blade through, and then when I go back, I do let it go on there a little bit, you know. Look, I just...
You're guilty of doing it. It's the same as an angle grinder. It spins forwards, and you see people cutting backwards. But you're pulling against itself then, so the blade's not spinning the way it wants to do. You're actually slowing it down.
Sam, we could talk...
Slow and steady.
Look, we could talk about this all day about cutting. It's not a problem at all. This is something that we're passionate and we believe in. But tell me a little bit about when you travel to Spain and you've seen the manufacturing of the porcelain and how it's made, and you know about its compressive strengths. If you can touch on that, can you tell us a little bit of what you actually seen and what you witnessed? Tell us a little bit about the journey, what you went on when you went out there.
Yeah, so I was invited as part of the Tile Association, which is basically an association that represents the tiler. They set the standards and stuff like that. And a bit of an insight of how the material works. And it's years ago on ceramic tiles, you still really wet mix, pat it down by hand, scrape it off level, and then just cook it. Now it's a dry powder. So it comes out 20 mil thick in the machine, all calibrated, and then it comes along the belts. And then what they do is compressive strength. Push it down really hard, compress it, so you've got a dry pressed porcelain. And that's the sort of porcelain we see.
Solid, really hard, absolutely solid, yeah.
Porcelain. Yeah, and it's a lot stronger than ceramic, which is done with water. So, and you look at it and you think it's too dry.
Is that
you get some on your hand, you crush it, there is moisture in there, but just not too much.
Sam, is that the difference between porcelain and ceramic? I've read so much on it, but is that the difference?
There's different raw materials as well, so there's stronger materials in the porcelain as opposed to ceramic. But mainly the dry compressed. Ceramic's got too much materials that you can't dry press them.
Right, okay.
Porcelain you can. So they're a lot denser.
Sam, when you're laying, when you're tiling, the thicknesses, the products that you're actually using, you're going from like 6 mil, 10 mil, 12 mil, and up to 20 mil. There's quite a few different sizes, aren't there?
Yeah, there's quite a few different thicknesses. So if you go down to like a real thin 6 mil, then what they'll do is they'll put a resin mesh on the back and spread it with resin just to give it a bit more stability. 10 mil, that can be used on driveways and stuff like that with a solid concrete slab.
So solid. So what we're talking about, in your opinion, 10 mil can go on a drive. A 10 mil porcelain tile can go on a driveway. This is good information. On a driveway, thin set on the concrete.
Yeah, as long as your concrete slab below is done properly and that's sufficient enough.
Then
a 10 mil tile. You see it in car showrooms, they're all tiled.
What adhesive? Yeah, absolutely. What a fantastic point what you've made there. You've clearly identified where they use tiles on concrete for cars in car showrooms. Yeah, absolutely. So this is a question we get asked: can you use 10 mil? Yeah, I love it. Fantastic. You've clearly identified. I'm really excited about that bit. But what would you recommend as a thin set on the concrete?
I would personally use like an anti-fracture matting if the concrete's too new. But just an S1 adhesive and just make sure you've got full coverage. So
hang on. Hang on. Anti-fracturing matting and an S1 adhesive.
Yeah, which is not your standard adhesive for use with porcelain, internal, external use. And it comes down to the same again. Although you've got adhesives water-based with the powder, it's about compressive strength, pushing them ridges down. Because if you get a trowel notch and it's sitting on just the notches, you've got the hollows in between.
Yeah.
That's where you lose your strength. So it comes down to, again, compressive strength, pushing it down, bedding it in.
Yeah, I watched a video this week where they showed, like, I've seen it before, where they got the glass going down, where they got the notches going in swirls, then in straight lines, and then they've
Yeah, but it's called trowel and error, I think, the video.
Yeah, trowel and error.
Trowel and error.
Right, okay.
It's how you crush the ridges down. So the trowel thickness you want to use is based on your tile. So if you've got a 10mm tile, you could use a 10mm trowel on the floor. Yeah, you're not going to get adhesive squeezing right through.
Joe, Matt, Sam, I'm absolutely blown away with this conversation we're having this morning, because what we're looking at is, when we look at about the amounts of paving going across the country, you're really going into really technical stuff here, which is simple. It's not frightening. It's simple. Justin from Brickwright says 10mm on reinforced concrete slab is good by expansion joints to have go on the slab. Can be costly though, in my opinion. You think it's costly in your opinion, Sam? But it depends what sort of job you want, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think everyone's got a budget, and this is the thing. We'd all like to do certain things on a project. Sometimes the budget's not there.
Yeah, look, Sam.
We've gone to see the 20mm porcelain.
I know I was going to have a challenge with you this morning, because you can talk just like me. So it doesn't really matter, does it? The fact is, if a customer wanted to actually have a driveway with porcelain, you would recommend concrete with the What is the fracture matting, Sam? Tell me about it.
So obviously on the cement and concrete, you get like the movement cracks.
Yeah.
If you imagine you stuck either side of a crack, if that opens out, then what's going to happen is the tile stuck either side is going to crack with it.
So is
the anti-fracture matting will take that fracture.
Is that the decoupling sort of matting? Is it the decoupling?
That's it. Yeah. So there's a difference in the matting. You get an anti-fracture mat that will just help with the fracturing. But if you've got all of it squeezing together and squeezing up tight, a decoupling mat will actually pop the tiles up off the matting, so it doesn't crush together and smash all of them on 10.
Yeah, we're not talking massive movements now, are we?
No, not massive movements, but you'll be surprised on a slab how much contraction you get. Like, obviously, your expansion you leave up against walls and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So you haven't got that on a big area. Especially a dark tile, they'd say you need expansion more often because it contracts the heat easier.
Yeah, Sam, just a little while ago, one of the questions came up. Somebody asked me what I recommend to point porcelain, and they said, would I suggest like old school? But and I think they were referring to sand and cement. You wouldn't put sand and cement with a porcelain grate, would you?
No, the problem you've got with porcelain is like 99% non-porous, and that's why you have to use the flexibilities, the slurry coat, because sand and cement just won't stick to it. You could do a trial, put some sand and cement down, and just put a tile down unbuttered, unslurried, and you'll be able to put it up clean. So it's absorption, it's getting it to stick to the porcelain, so sand and cement will just crack.
Sam, it almost, I love listening to you talk to them. It almost sounds a little bit all complicated, but all these are basic principles that we can put in place as a checklist to ensure that what we do is to ensure our whatever we're doing has integrity and longevity, doesn't it?
Yeah, that's it. So it is pretty simple, really. It's just that porcelain's more flexible. It needs more flexible materials. And that is the only change, really. Harder to cut, more flexible materials. But you do get a stronger material that doesn't stain like your sandstone.
Lee Cornwall says, how often you see mortar beds under porcelain crack, and why do you think this is?
Me personally, I think too much water, too much moisture, because then you've got the shrinkage.
Yeah.
If it's a lean bed, then you haven't got as much water, and water is the biggest problem.
Yeah.
It escapes too quick, the water, and you've lost your strength then.
Let's recap where we are. This is Saturday Morning Live with Johnyboy. I've got Sam Hoffman from Hoffman Tiling down in Kent there, the Garden of England. And look, this Saturday Morning Live is supported by the guys at ITS. Sam, you've got 21 live viewers. You've had 14 likes on here at the moment. You've got questions coming in. But what we've touched upon there, which is something that is really important to me, you talked about reducing the amounts of water in, basically, let's face it, Sam, in everything we do. We don't need copious amounts of water, do we? In our grouts, in our bedding water, and when we're cleaning porcelain. Can you tell us a little bit about all that?
Yeah, so porcelain, when you're cleaning the porcelain, obviously if it's all set patio slat, then they are pretty much non-porous. The only time you get dirt residues holding onto them is with the anti-slip ones. So there's chemicals out there to help clean them up. Once they're clean, they should be easy just to jet wash over, or just a chemical cleaning just to top them up every year or so if it does get the winter.
Right. Look, let's just, I know you've got to go back to work soon. We've nearly had you on here for 15 minutes, right? So bear with me a sec. What we touched upon, when you went to Spain, you looked at the manufacturing process and you realised that for that porcelain to maintain, they've reduced the water in the manufacturing process, haven't they?
Yeah, I would say 1%. It looks like little granules, a real lean mix. You lamb like that, a real lean mix. When you compress that together, you get the water dispersed, the strength, and stuff like that. So reducing it becomes a harder, compacter bed, and that's why the porcelain's so hard compared to, say, like a ceramic.
Sam, what I'm going to do now at this point, you've touched on something really, really intriguing and really, really important, but I want to probably revisit this with you again in the future. Will you do that with me?
Yeah, no, definitely be happy to come on.
Yeah, fantastic.
I myself learned a lot off of your page as well, so, and off the landscapers, because it's that where we're joining together sort of thing.
Look, Sam, it's been absolutely intriguing having you on here. I can't wait to come down and do some work with you and see how you do it. And I've learned so much about off you this morning. You've finished this live show now with 19 people watching, 15 likes. So Sam Hoffman of Hoffman Tiling, thank you very much for your time.
No, thank you for your time and thank you to the listeners as well.
No worries. Cheers, Sam. Catch you later.
Bye.
There you are, Sam Hoffman from Hoffman Tiling. Fantastic guy, knows his stuff inside out without a shadow of a doubt. Lots to learn. We talked about the most important thing that we touched upon is compressive strength and how important compressive strength is, and reducing the amounts of mortar in everything you do, from the laying, from the manufacturing to the laying, to the grout systems and to the cleaning. You need to reduce the water. Look, just let you guys know, I'm going to have to cut it short this morning because I've got a lot going on today. I've really enjoyed this live stream, and it's such a shame that I've had so many viewers on here this morning. Thank you all for joining. Have a great weekend. And don't forget, if you need any advice or any help, just drop us an email at info@greentoplandscapes.co.uk. Thanks for joining. Have a great weekend. See you soon. All the best. Bye-bye.